Good morning, traders, and welcome to the Bookmap real-time analysis webinar here, live webinars at Bookmap. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Noah, and others here. Good morning, everybody. Luke. All right, so sorry being a little late. Oh my God, just meetings after meetings, anyway, let's get started here. This is based on our educational course. It's online. We have multiple streamers every day. We go through that course content here in the live market, so we put it to the test and so that you can learn in the live market. Forward-looking analysis, not hindsight. That's our goal here. Rob, that coffee looks good. Then we have real-time analysis with Jay Trader, a stocks trader, and Scott Pulcini, a futures trader, on Wednesdays and Thursdays. We also have a full lineup in our Discord chat room. You might want to go over there and check it out. Right after this session, we have Tom B with Volume Profile. And then after that, we have Options with Doug, who will go through his options strategy. And then we have, right after that, we have the Algo Boys, and Gene will go through how he trades the markets. So very specific insights from these professional traders all day long. So you can come over to Discord. We also have it on our YouTube. You'll see it in the lineup there. Let's go through the disclosures and let's jump in. Okay, general disclosure: all Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, so let's take a look here at these markets and see what's going on. Very choppy, guys. Like yesterday too, very choppy. I think the market is, kind of bigger picture here in the order flow. I think the market's kind of got caught off guard a little bit with the unemployment or the non-farm numbers on Friday, whereas FOMC last Wednesday was in line with expectations, thinking that they're going to stop raising and etc. And then everyone was really kind of caught off guard here. And what does that mean for the markets now? Well, no one really knows. So, what does that mean in the order flow? Look at it. It's a mess. So we're seeing sellers down here, buyers up here, sellers down here again, trying to move it. We may get a move here. Let's see if we get enough sellers here right now. In fact, you can even kind of in this instance here, if you see sellers in here, this is where you can even get kind of a jump on it, jump in, trade it down here. Now that's only a couple points down to this 110. Take some off and then hold your runner. Okay, then look for that to unfold here. Why in the middle of the range in here, or kind of near the end of the range? Here's why. Is because they're buying in here, and they'll have to be sellers on the way down if they got it wrong here. Okay, so and it's worth taking a shot. All right, and a very tight stop on something like that. Probably just up here somewhere. Then like I said, take some off down here. We don't know. There might be a stream of buying coming in, but I'm looking for sellers to move it here. Okay, we can go over why as well, because of this pattern in here. Like, we're making lower highs and equal lows here, and slightly lower lows. Okay, look at this one, this pattern up here. Okay, this is an order flow pattern of buyers come in, retest, buyers come in again. Where are the buyers up here? Okay, this is known as exhaustion. We don't have many buyers up here. You look for the sellers to come in these lower areas in here, and here they are, right? And they're going to move it away from this area, and these buyers in here and in here are going to get stopped out down here. And here's our stop move. That's CVD. Hold on, let me get to stops. I know it's going to be a stop run, and it is. Okay, this is a stop run here. All right, so we know that they got stopped out. That's just fact. That's what this stops and icebergs indicator can show. All right, so there we go. Right now, did you hold for your runner? Maybe you took some off at the bottom of this range in here, and maybe you're out because you know this is choppy, or maybe you held and you had your stop at break even and you got stopped out at break even. Fine, you gave it a shot. That was in your plan, and you were and you traded it correctly, and you took some profit and you mitigated the risk, and then you just look for it again, and again and again. All right, so that's how it worked out this time. All right, now, like I said, there's so many different ways to manage this. We talk about just basically we just talk about 2 or 3, sometimes 4 or 5 different ways of managing it. Let's just talk about 2. Let's suppose you saw it in here and you got in here, right? We were talking about that. Right in here you got in, okay, at this 10 3/4, let's call it. All right, so your stop was up here, okay, at 13 or so. Okay, so about a 2-point stop, 2 1/4. And then you took some off down here from at the bottom of this range. So, around this kind of 9.5 level here. All right, so you mitigated some of that risk, and look for it to the next level. Maybe this swing down here, or maybe you're holding for a bigger move here. Now, this is why I'm covering it here, because this is choppy action, and you'll have to figure out what how you want to mitigate the risk. And risk is the game here. Mitigating the risk. Okay, we are all risk managers. Okay, we can all trade different ways, but we all have to manage risk. It is just essential to manage risk. Let's see. You're not going to like the chart just saying which one, Rob, are you talking about? Oh, can you look at the higher time frame, Rob? Okay. Yeah, we can. I will. I want to cover these points, and then we'll look at the higher time frame, Rob. Okay. Anyway, what I want to go over is, like, let's suppose you got in here. Okay. Maybe you took some off at the bottom of the range in here. Okay. And that's a feasible a solution. I think we were talking about 12 or something as I know it was 2 points, but anyway, let's just go over this. Okay, so you took off some here, okay, and now what do you do? Okay, well, let's double that here. All right, and now let's take this, and we're going to move that to our break even overall up here. Okay, does that make sense, guys? So now we can move. Let's suppose this was our stop here. Okay, we can move it. Hold on, let me just get rid of this. All right, and we'll go with a line segment. Okay, and this was your stop up here, right, around 13. Okay, so now what you can do is you can move it down to the overall break even. So you took some off. Your overall break even on the position is up here. This allows you to manage the stop a little bit, gives a little more leeway, right? That maybe you're looking for a bigger runner in here. Okay, and you might do that because, like, it's choppy, right? So it depends. It always depends on the market conditions in here. And that's another way to consider managing it. If you took some off down here and you moved your stop at break even holding for your runner, you would have been stopped out at break even up here. All right, so just want to cover that, a few different ways of considering your management, and you would still be in this here. You would still be in it, right? Letting it work out. Now, is that in alignment with your higher time frame? So let's take a look at that, and let's answer Rob's question of what the higher time frame looks like. Okay, but right now it seems to me they are moving, or traders are moving price away from this value area here. Okay, so we would look for it to explore down into this liquidity down here. Okay, and we might get even a bigger move, right? We don't know, but we're mitigating the risk along the way. All right, so there's how you can integrate some order flow in a setup and risk management within it in a pretty choppy environment here. All right, so let's take a step back. Let's look at our bigger picture here. All right, so I've got 3 different candlestick charts up here on different time frames. Our daily is on the left, hourly in the middle, and 15-minute on the right. The daily, well, this was our FOMC and the move up into these areas, and this is pretty bullish for some months in here, right? We see this strong move down. That's when everything was falling apart, markets falling apart, the dollar is super strong, and then we see that the market, traders are thinking that maybe we're going to be coming to an end with this interest rate hikes, and then we get the kind of push to the upside finally over here at FOMC. And then we had non-farm. Okay, this is our non-farm bar up here on the hourly, I believe, and then you can see that here's where we opened up yesterday. All right, and moved to the downside. And now we're basically these are regular trading hours. That's why it's not 24 candles in here. Right, so it's an hourly chart. With the regular trading hours. So yesterday I was thinking that well, we opened up down here. Let's see if we can get price exploration down here, and we got this big wick here, and there was buyers in here. Looks like see if they can fill the gap up in this area here, and it just didn't. Yesterday was super choppy, and then here again today, like we can see here's the gap, and we see sellers down here. So looking for sellers to hit it down into this 41.02 or 03, I should say, somewhere around here. And we see that there's some buying wicks in here right now. So let's move on over to the 15-minute chart, and let's take a look, and let's look at just today's action. Okay, we can see, yeah, it's choppy, but let's see if we can get down into the swing down here. From, is that 04? Yeah, I guess it's 04. This is the swing down here, right? And just to retest into that area where all of that buying came in yesterday. Now let's go through some scenarios in this chart here. So we have the gap, we kind of filled it basically, and we see more sellers in here. Okay, I don't see any big selling bars yet though. It's pretty choppy in here. However, we opened lower, and we see that these are red in here so far, right? So we know there's more selling pressure, but these aren't very big bars. There's not a whole lot of selling movement, or moving the market, I should say. Maybe though, if we get a test down here, we'll break this and see some heavy selling, and then we'd be looking for down here to like 40.88, and maybe down into here where they broke out around 73. Maybe down into some of these lower swings in here. Okay, so we'll be looking for that scenario in here in the order flow. Okay, let's take a look at our 15-minute chart. So Rob, is this answering your question on the higher time frame? And I'm going over this in maybe a different light in here, because I view these here the same way I view Bookmap. This is order flow to me, even on the daily or the monthly, it doesn't matter. Whatever chart it is order flow, and I'm rather convinced by that. That is, like, we found buyers in here that moved it away from this area here. Okay, that answers your question. Good. So here we can see, like on our 15-minute chart, well, we have wicks on both sides, right? So it's choppy, but we do have like a kind of a, boy, I would say I don't even know if we have a bias here. It made a higher high here and it made a lower low here. So it's pretty choppy in here. So we're looking to see if we get that follow through maybe to the downside. Or we're going to look at some order flow in here in the current market and see if maybe there's some trap volume that might get price to move back up and up into these buyers up here, or these sellers up in here and in the wicks. Okay, or opposite, the move back down into these areas here. All right, so we'll look at it, and we'll look at Bookmap, and then we'll look for those scenarios in the order flow to give us insight for the possibility of that move. Okay, and it is the order flow that will tip our hand to the direction. Well, look at this here. Okay, that's a lot of buying. Now look at, again, this is what tips our hand here. Okay, this is what's going to be the trap volume here. And look at the heavy buyers here, and we know there's a stop run here on the other side. Okay, there's a lot of stops triggered in here. Okay, it's the sellers in here that are getting stopped out in here. Okay, so now let's take a look here. So now we have our consolidation. We have a breakout of consolidation on strong buy volume. Okay, so let's take a look at the scenario. If this is going to continue, then what are we looking for? Exhaustion here on the sell side. We got it. Do we get buyers here? If we do, I'm looking for them to come right back up to the top of the range here at 13.5. And if we still get buyers in there, I'm looking for this liquidity to be tested up here along with this swing, right, and maybe even this liquidity up here. So this one looks pretty good, 15 and about 15, right? So now, do we get our buyers? No, we didn't. We got some in here, but not enough, nothing what we're looking for to get back up into these areas here and try to break it. Okay, nothing yet. All right, so let's take a look. Let's read the order flow now. Okay, and we can look at this on a much lower time frame, and it will still give us insight here to what might unfold. So here, look at the liquidity in here in the order book. They pulled it, and then they added here on the offer. It's really back and forth. Okay, just by this liquidity in the auction in here, we're not getting too much insight to who's in control. Okay, here we go. Now look at this high liquidity came in, and what was the reaction? Buyers. Okay, here's high liquidity on the offer. What was the reaction? It's kind of muted. No, we're some buyers. Okay, buyers then can take these guys on and trade into and through them and on up to 15. Let's see if we get it here. Okay, they pulled here. Great. Now do we get buyers here? Okay, a little bit. Let's see it, buyers. Now they're pulling down here though too. Okay, so again, still kind of looking for that to unfold here, but it's not as, because they're both pulling in here. It's like, well, what are they doing? What's going on in the auction in here? It's not too clear. Okay, so yeah, still kind of looking for this 15 level here, right? There we go. But just not as high probability. Okay, so again, the order flow in here is telling us what the market and the players in the market think about this potential move up into 15. Okay, and here's our answer, right? They started to, and then they pulled it, or the sellers came in and just moved it very, very, very quickly the other way, right? So you could just filter out that trade. Okay, so we just knew that the market participants in here weren't giving us like a pure directional move. Therefore, we're going to kind of stay away from it. Okay, why take the risk when the other players in here aren't really telling us much about it? All right, so let me get to some questions in here. I'll start over in Discord. Uli asked a question about swing trading. We'll go over that. We can do a full episode on that in the future as well, on swing trading. No problem. Even, yeah, potentially a series in here. Just note that, like, why we're going over these in such lower time frame is because we can read the order flow. We can go through the scenarios, and then put it to the test. That's why we're doing it on these smaller time frames. But this is the same thing though. If we're going to do a swing trade, there's nothing really to talk about. Like in a swing trade in here, there's right now what are we going to talk about in a swing trade? Potentially trap volume here. Maybe if we get buyers up in here, but we'd be looking for buyers up here though, right? Maybe to break, and then up to 22, and then on up to, you know, maybe highs in here in a potential swing trade. Okay, so it would just have to, there'd be a lot more waiting around on a swing trade. Other times we do see it very clearly, like this would be like some sort of double bottom pattern in here very clearly on a higher time frame move, and then we look for the follow through on the buy side. Okay, and we've seen many instances of that and how that plays out. Okay, which is great. Oh no, I was on mute this whole time in here. I'm sorry, guys. In Discord. Okay. Yeah, sorry, Nadius. It's Bruce, by the way, not Doug. Doug is on later. Doug will be on at 1:30 p.m. 1:30 to 2:30. And options. Yeah, my bad on that. I'm sorry. On YouTube, though, let's get back to the questions over there. Okay. If I had to start all over with trading, how would I start? I think there's been such a process. It's been very similar to from, you know, other people I've asked. I'll answer that question. Okay, yeah, thanks, Rob. Audio video is good on YouTube over here. Last iceberg, was it a buy iceberg? I don't know. It looks like selling iceberg to me. Okay, so here's our order flow on a higher time frame from a higher view here. Right, look at the offer, look at the sellers. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good on this time frame that sellers should hit the figure down here at 4100. Okay, how do you get in it? You just jump in right here. We saw sellers come in. It looks like they're going to move the market. You get in, right? I mean, you could look for a pullback here, but you might not get it. It might just move like right on down to 05, and then you get a small pullback here. So why not get in up here, and then you're already like in a better position than you would get on a pullback that might only be to, like, you know, a couple points back. Yeah, now, you know, we have a few things to working for us here on this higher time frame move into 4100, the figure. Okay, just to take some off down here, it might move down to 4090. Okay, but look at the selling coming in. Look at the structure in here too. Like, you know, some higher highs in here, sure, but it's really sellers, lower highs, lower highs, lower lows in here, and we get sellers in here. Okay, so now we'd be looking for them to pull away from this value area here. And do they have enough selling pressure to do that? All right, well, we got to take the risk. You know, that's just how it is in trading. You've got to take risk. There's no two ways about that. In fact, I saw it was on YouTube. It was years ago. There was one trader, young guy, who was talking about quote stuffing, which we can talk about if you guys want. But he said basically that is really no risk trade. Now that's an illegal practice, quote stuffing, and what it is, and it's a scalp. It's not a high time frame move, but you're more or less guaranteed for the trade to work for you with the quote stuffing. It's, again, like prohibitive practice, illegal. Basically, you note that a lot of there's a flurry of quotes, that hit the market, and it kind of slows down the exchange because there's so many, and they're partially getting filled in those areas too. Now, what that means is that there's so many quotes in there. Maybe someone gets filled, but or they're getting filled, but they're going to dump it off pretty quickly to someone else before all those other quotes, are finished reading for someone else that's further away from the exchange. Yeah, it's a high high entropy and volatile market. Doesn't need to be volatile at all. It just could be like let's stuff the quotes and just throw a massive flurry of activity, get filled kind of in between it, and then dump it off to somebody in a different area. It's not really a squeeze either. It doesn't have to be. It's just really just, maybe you can get more out of it from a squeeze. See, right now, this is like, okay, the structure is still intact here for the move lower. But, this is a pretty uncomfortable environment here. That, you're getting in here and then it's working against you, right? You're looking for the breakdown. And you are getting the big pullback here. Now that's the risk. That's the risk of getting in an area down like in here someplace, right? That you are looking for them to push it and maybe continue on into 4100. Here's your bigger pullback here. Okay, so if you're a pullback trader, then you're happy as a clam. If you are just jumping in trying to get a ticket on the train while it's moving, maybe you just got stopped out at break even. Maybe you took a stop loss, a small stop loss. Different ways to manage it, right? Maybe the buyers come in and upset the whole apple cart up here if we get a lot of buyers up here around this 12.5, 13 level up here. Okay, right now it's still holding. Okay, but there's some pretty strong buying in here and in here. It's just pretty range bound basically. It still looks pretty range bound to me. Yeah, so let's see here. I was going to answer someone else's question. What was it? Oh, if I had to start all over again. Okay, well, let me just say, no, and I mean, basically, in a nutshell, like, I mean, we've probably read just about every other book there is out there. Not all of them, of course, but all these different trading books. We've learned about all these different ways of trading, all these different things. What applies to us. I ended up kind of looking at some volume studies like volume profile and footprint charts, etc. Got a lot more insights with volume, and then I came across Bookmap. And I understood the other side of the trade and how important it is to understand the auction process and truly how these markets work. So once I started to understand that, everything fit into place. So that was just the process I had to go through. And now, you can look at anything. We can look at candlesticks in here, and we can understand a candlestick pattern so much better now about like why does it fail or why does it work. Like in here, this would be this would be your wick. Here's your close. Maybe you're looking for sellers down in here for the move back down to the bottom of the range. Well, that candlestick pattern worked, right? That worked. But here's why it worked, is because we have this volume here trapped, we see exhaustion here. There's no buying, looking for sellers here at the bottom of the candle. We get them. If we don't get them here, what if this candle looked totally different? Let me just get the pen tool out. What if this candle looked totally different and it looked like this? Okay, what if we got in this red little candle here? Okay, what if we got a lot of buying up here? What if we got more buying up here again? Well, the candle would look pretty similar to this, right? Except that I would, at that point, this is looking pretty good for continuation to the upside. Right? It's because of the transactions and the order flow in here. Now, that didn't happen. It did this instead. It exhausted right here. I don't see any buyers at all. And it can't even make an equal high, really. The high is up here. And there's no one trading up here. No one. That's when we're looking for sellers down in here. If we get them here, whoops, sorry. If we get them here, and we do, not very good. It's not bad either. But if we get the sellers here, then we're looking for the continuation down to bottom of the range here, and then maybe we will get the continuation on down to our 4100. All right, again, that's what made up this candlestick chart here, or this candlestick pattern in here, right? Or it's basically these two, sorry, these two here. Okay, so does that make sense now? And that's where, like, now we can understand, like, oh, okay, now I understand why this candlestick pattern works or doesn't work, why it might fail, and to what degree might it fail. Like this one right here, now we're starting to break this trend line, and we're testing up here. Are we getting buyers? Yeah, we are. Okay. All right, buyers, let's see something in the order book here too, and then I'd be looking for the move up into here. Okay, and it would come up into this swing up here and this liquidity up here. Okay, so yeah, if this looks really good in the order flow here, and it's not bad, it's not great either, then let's see, we're getting a bit of a pullback here. Let's see if they come back again and we get buyers up here at 13.5. Okay, if we do, this is what we're looking for, is this move. Okay. All right, so anyway, so all of that long winded answer and just learning in here, the pieces all kind of came together, and that's what was really helpful for me. Okay, so yeah, and you want to look at volume profile. You understand what makes up the profile. You understand, like, that, for example, volume profile is not perfect at all. I think it's good, but I think there's a lot of limitations to it. This profiling here, it's buyers and sellers, and it's mashed into this like long whole thing here of volume, that this whole range here of volume is mashed into this little area in here. Well, I don't care. Let's suppose there's big volume up here and it makes up the majority of this, and then there's exhaustion up here. Well, a lot of people might be thinking, well, okay, it's a kind of P-shaped profile, you know, I'd be looking for the move higher. Well, if it exhausts up here and we get sellers in down at this area here, look out, you know, they're going to drive it, and they're going to drive it back down to this level, and maybe it will continue to break out. All right, so that's where you get the understanding of even understanding a volume profile. What makes up the profile? Okay, and understanding there's a limitation in here because it's only horizontally aggregated here. So now what are we getting right here and right now? We're getting buyers. Okay, it's not, now look at, is it this kind of buying? Do we see bigger green dots up in here? Not really. right? So it's again, it's not, we're getting them, but we're not really getting the kind that moves the market here. Okay, we might come back up here and revisit. Again, context in here. Like, okay, some buyers, great, not enough though. And then see the sellers already here. This is where they're going to drop it, and they're going to test back down to here, or this liquidity here, and then maybe they can test it lower here. Okay, you can see what happened. They only tested this swing here. That's it. And buyers came right back in. Okay, so now in my book, this is looking even better. If we get buyers up here, we should get a break. Okay, because they tested here, it rejected, we didn't get sellers, and we're getting buyers back up here again. Wow, that's telling us something. And look at that, liquidity's pulling here at 14. They're adding here on the bid. Great. Okay, this is higher probability. We'll get buyers here and lift it up into 15 and to 16 and a half. And we didn't get them up here, not yet. We still may though. And then watch out. They're still here on the bid. This is good. It's all looking good here. We just need to get a few more buyers in here to get this cascade going to the upside. Okay, and we should see a stop run too. Okay, look at the offer now. See how this is changing? It's dynamic. Now we have exhaustion and a lower high in here. That's not good for what we're looking for. Okay, so this is not, it was high probability in here. It doesn't look so good now. Okay, it changed. I know that's kind of hard to swallow, or it's hard to, like, we were looking for it, and we saw a little bit of buying up here. We needed a little bit more. Everything else was aligned though. We had the bid here, we had them pulling here, and then, well, they came in on the offer in here, and, well, where are the buyers? They didn't show, and now they're showing over here, and now there's more on the offer, and we're getting sellers here. Okay, so this dynamic changed in here. Okay, so let's suppose you got in up here. Well, just get out. Okay, or just wait until you have something really clear, when you see a lot of buyers like this happening here. Because this is looking pretty, pretty paltry up here by buyers. And then here come our sellers. Okay, now sellers should be able to break it here, I would imagine, and we should be able to get a move back down and a test down into some of these lower areas in here. Maybe it just tests this swing here. So anyway, to get back to, I think, Luke's question in here, like, learn order flow, and then these other things that you'll read about, like using volume profile or whatever it might be, it'll make so much more sense, or candlestick patterns or whatever. So look at this. We're back up here. This is how choppy it is. Okay, that's not bad though. Now look at this buying here. Okay, there's a pullback. Okay, now I would look for buyers to support it here. If they don't, right back down to the bottom of the range. And I don't see anything in the order book right now, but I do see this cluster of buying, and it auctioned up here, and that's good if we can get more buyers back up here again. All right, let's look at this. This is where we should get them to move it right here. we should get buyers in here to move it back up and retest here. Why? Because we had exhaustion here and we started to see some buyers come in here. So if we do get buyers here, they should be able to move it back up to here. Okay, and just test up here, that's all. Just, it auctioned here before, it can auction here again. There they are. Okay, now do we get more up here? Yeah, we do. Okay, this is higher probability now. Okay, there's a caveat in here. What about the bid? What about the offer? See how they're still here on the offer? We want to see them pull. We want to see them add on the bid. Okay, that's where this becomes higher probability up here. And it might happen. Let's see. Let's see, do these guys pull here? We'd be looking for it. Now they're adding. See how they're adding in here? Okay, well, we don't have all the pieces here. This is, and what I mean by the pieces in the setup in here is what we're looking at in here is these players are showing supply. And do we have enough demand in here to meet that supply? And we don't. So it is the behavior of the players in here that we're reading, and that's what's giving us insight. It's not like some sort of mathematical problem. It is an auction, and we're reading it in real time here and understanding the activity of these players and what the players think of some of this supply up here, for example. So Luke, I would really encourage you to go through this part here in our educational course on bookmap.com. Go down here to educational course, click on this view full playlist, and just watch this part 1 and maybe part 2. Okay, I know you probably have already, but this is, if you understand market mechanics in here and really what moves the market, then you'll be able to apply any trading strategy to that, right? Like what's on the offer, what's on the bid, why did that market move lower or higher in here? Then you're going to be able to understand the volume profile, the P-shape profile, whatever it might be. How does this affect price? And then these other strategies that we have been reading about in these books, like head and shoulders patterns, it will have a whole new light. Like, this could be maybe a potential reverse head and shoulders here. Shoulder, head, shoulder. Okay, now what are we looking for though in that? Well, sellers here, maybe some selling in here, lack of sellers in here, more buyers up in here. Okay, was what we're looking for in the order flow to make this pattern work. And we're looking for them up here. We're looking for our buyers in here, and just here, we didn't get them even up here. Like, not bad, but it's just been back and forth in here. Okay, so at some point, this is either going to break or fail here. Thanks, Hazard. Yeah, everyone's kind of waiting and watching for Powell to speak and get a little clarity. Yeah, that's the real big question right now. Because I think it's pretty clear Powell after that employment report on the non-farm that interest rate hikes are still in the works, in my mind. Okay, what does the market think of that? Well, that's why we're getting all this chop. Market doesn't know what it thinks of it. Okay, let's see here. Here's some exhaustion. Looking for our buyers here. Great. Okay, now let's see if we get our breakout here. They traded into this 14 level. Took them on. All right. Yep. Let's see it, buyers. Let's see you move it up into 15 and now 16.5. Okay, so finally it looks like we're going to get our follow through here that we're looking for several times in here for that follow through. Okay, so now here's our breakout into 15. I'm still looking for higher here, 16.5. And let's zoom out here. Let's look at our bigger picture. Yeah, maybe 18, maybe up into this 20 level. Okay, so now here's our order flow shift and change unfolding in front of us in real time. Okay, okay, understood? Does that help illustrate and maybe even put a little bit of a pattern in here of this kind of inverse head and shoulders here? And then here's the break. Okay, so now mitigate some risk on this. Now we're going to talk about something completely different. That was reading the order flow. Now talk about risk management on it. Okay, well, take some off up here at your 16.5. That was the target because that's where the liquidity was. Okay, and then hold for your runner is a possible solution. Or maybe you're all in, all out. You know, maybe you got out up here. That was a higher probability move. Great. Look for the next one. Maybe you trade a flag pattern in here. Impulse move, pull back, impulse move again, right? So maybe you're out. Maybe you got in on a pullback in here, and maybe or maybe you're looking for your buyers up in here in the break again here in your flag pattern. Okay, so lots of different ways to skin a cat. All right, so let's get back to YouTube. Yeah, PCS. I love Market Pulse so far. This has been just such a good tool. Yesterday I kind of struggled with it, to be honest, but we'll bring it up again. And I think it was just look, it's new to me too. But that volume pressure in Market Pulse, when you get those correlations together, and I'm pretty sure that we probably just saw the maybe you can verify it. We probably saw the correlated markets in here, right? All working together in the stock indexes with volume pressure, I would imagine. If that is the case, then this is an important level for these markets. Okay, that this breakout is important. It means all the markets broke out. Okay, we don't know that. I can't verify it. But if that is the case, look for a bounce here. Here's your pullback trade right here. Okay, I would look for all the markets to be supporting it in here. Okay, and I'd be looking for another move back up to here, 16. Okay, from here, a bounce from here on up to 16. Okay, that's another way to start to understand and read the correlated markets in here. And I'll explain more about that and what I mean by this. What are these market, like we're looking at the price of the S&P E-mini here, but compared to what? Right, now we know it makes up an index of 500, and this is a derivative of futures product, right? Okay, great. So we know all that, but still compared to what? To other, what about the dollar? Like what are people doing with their dollar? What about the bonds? Are people shuffling it like maybe into gold as a safe haven? Or maybe the bonds, the interest rate products? What about other indexes? Will they put it more into tech? And are those tech stocks, would they buy that instead of more than the S&P? Okay, so we can look at and understand compared to what. And that's, again, context. And it's a bigger picture context. And that's where this Market Pulse tool can be really, really helpful. I'm just loving it. I'm a big fan of it. And we'll bring it up in just a second. Let me get through more questions here since I've been really going off on a tangent here. What do you think about having higher time frame candles overlaid? Yeah, sure. I mean, I do that a lot, Rob. We're looking at 5 minutes here. We can look at an hour. It doesn't matter. And start to understand these patterns in here as well. So pretty strong move to the downside, but yeah, we got some buyers in here, right? We got some buyers in here in this wick, or we see selling in here, selling, but buyers were able to move it up, and these are the buyers in here. Okay, we got another move down here, and we made a lower low here. Okay, well, in this structure, we're still bearish then on this hourly candlestick chart, right? So this makes sense that maybe we come up here and that's it for our little head and shoulders pattern in here. Maybe we don't get more volume up here at 18. And that's what we want to look at here. So there's your bigger picture perspective on an hourly chart. Okay, so this chart here, yeah, not bad, not bad. We do see a lower low and a lower high so far. So this is still bearish here on this hourly candlestick chart. No question. Right? That's that. It's just fact. Well, if that's the case, let's put some order flow around that understanding. Well, we're already getting it here. We're looking for sellers down here, and I'd be looking for some really heavy selling here, because this is the point of control right here. And if we're bearish, what we need to drive away from this area here and this point of control, which just means it's very the most traded level, we need to see sellers move it away from that area. So we're looking for heavy sell volume here if it's going to move away, and we're getting it. Okay, so down to this 41.10 would be the next stop. Okay, now are we getting that really heavy selling? Not really. So down to 41.10 looks pretty good, but we're probably going to get a bounce back up here to 13. All right, so again context in here. How much selling is moving it away? Right, this is pretty choppy. So a move back up here makes sense in this environment in here. This is what the order flow or the participants in the market are kind of telling us here, and that's the read. Right. Okay. Yeah, Rob, it's up to you, really. That just start to understand these things in the order flow, and that's what this course or these webinars are for, so that you can apply it to anything, right? And you can jump over to Tom B's volume profile course or next webinar here, and understand the order flow within the volume profile. Great, right? Look at this. See how it's tapered here in the profile? Well, that just means that there's a lack of transactions down here. But in this view right here, if we get sellers in here, we should get the break, and we'd be looking for it to go lower. 108, 106, back to the bottom of the profile here. Okay, sellers moving it away. Okay, and that's unfolding right now. Okay, and it's a demo in real time. This is what it kind of takes. Now, we weren't so sure about this move initially. It's starting to pick up a little bit, though, it looks like. Okay, look for the spikes in the selling in here, and then the move lower. Yeah, I mean, I really don't go through a lot of features and components in these webinars in here, Luke, just because there's so many. Try to keep it simple in here and answer you guys' questions. A lot of people are looking at volume profile. Well, you can even look at the profile in here. We'll look at it. I mean, this is definitely a B-shaped profile, right? Look at this tapered edge up here, and then big profile here. Okay, and this is turning into big single distribution right now. We haven't seen, this is actually looking pretty good for testing the bottom of the profile down here, because we are starting to see some sellers come in. Okay, but now look at it. Look at the context. We're seeing a lot of buyers come back in. It's just been choppy. Another one, guys, jump over to Well, we have, after Tom B in his profile trading and order flow, there's options with Doug, and he has a very unique strategy going through his options and really understanding higher time frame kind of outlook and bigger picture on options, and then looking for order flow within the underlying, okay, to support that bigger, higher time frame outlook. It's a great strategy. There's also the algo boys. We have Gene, that, and he'll be trading, and he's a really good trader. He talks about some of these things of like the exchange between hands up here, buyers and sellers. Do we see the exchange take place, and who takes control? Okay, and Bookmap is just beautiful at showing that exchange. Like right in here, some of that exchange took place. There's high liquidity that traded. Okay, so that's how you can start to read and put these pieces together. Okay, now look at this here. Did the exchange take place on the with sellers on the offer? No, not yet. Right? Okay, so then buyers can they can move it back higher. We were looking for the move potentially back to the middle of the range here, or back to the point of control. That's unfolded. Okay, now let's look again here. Okay, have the sellers really has that exchange taken place yet? Not really. I don't see it in here in this move yet. Okay, so do we get buyers up here? Okay, or do we get them here buying down here? So we even see more buyers in here. Okay, so again, like, some really good educators in here, guys. You can learn a lot from, and you can apply that then to any strategy that you're looking at. So they are starting to show on the bid here, but did they transact? Not yet. They even pulled that liquidity here. Look at that. They didn't even transact here. Okay, so what does that tell us? Well, not much. So we're not really looking for a move yet. We don't have that context in here. Just did nothing means reversions. Kind of. It kind of does, Captain Price. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it could be a range bound. Like, I'm not comfortable with it. But you could look at it, and you could look at your candlesticks up in here of, like, look at this wick up in here and this swing here. If you don't see like something up in here, likely you're going to get, it'll fall back down into where it can trade. Okay, which means POC, which means that is your mean reversion trade. Right, if you don't get any kind of order flow event up in here, it just can kind of slip back down here. Okay, so yeah, that's I kind of feel the same way. I just want to see something in here tip its hand for that mean reversion trade, and usually it starts with a lower high and some sellers in here, to drive it back down lower. Yeah, yeah. Well, we have Scott on Thursday, Luke. So yeah, he'll get in there and yeah, you can reset these columns in here to a certain time of day. You can clear them. You can reset it on a double click. I mean, there's all sorts of features in here, guys, with these columns, or with many of these things, even the heat map, the volume dots. There's just all sorts of settings in here to play around with to get what you want. I am usually demoing the default mode here, so that you guys are looking at exactly what I'm looking at. Okay, now look at this in here. Okay, so sellers on, you know, the kind of the bottom edge in here. Our buyers come in here, like a lack of sellers, more buyers. Here's our double bottom pattern in here in this little area in here, just meaning that on this retest down here, not many sellers. The buyers come in, buyers are moving it. Now we know that the sellers really haven't come in yet, right? Even these guys pulled here, so this means it can go higher. 15. Okay, they still haven't come in yet. Okay, so buyers can still move this until that exchange of hands takes place. Okay, this is something Gene talked about in the Algo Boys room. Okay, so we're still looking for it to go higher. Okay, until we see exchange take place. Okay, and yeah, maybe it happens at 15. Maybe they pull. Maybe we see aggressors on the sell side come in and that exchange takes place like that. Yeah, we'll get that market pulse up, guys. I'll get it up. I'm still going through your questions in here. Okay, there. See how we're up at 15 now, starting to exchange maybe a little bit here, right? But there still could be more buying pressure. And there's not. There's not. Here's our answer right here. Okay, so again, now let's see then. Is that enough of an exchange to take place? No, it's not. Here, our buyers are back in. We're still seeing more buyers. Okay, we're looking for higher. Still looking for higher here. 16 3/4, 17. Okay, makes sense. Let's continue on. Okay, there's our 17. Okay, let's take a look at 17 now. Okay, starting to exchange a little bit, still going higher, still buying pressure. Stop run. Okay, into high liquidity up here. They're transacting now. There's no question there. All right, so they're starting to transact. Okay, so now a little bit of exchange has taken place here. All right, do we still see buyers? Well, they're on the bid here a bit. They're buying a little bit on the bid. So are they reloading? Is this a low volume pullback? They're reloading and we get more buyers and come back up here to 2021. Yep, exactly. Okay, supply and demand. Very, very simple stuff. Economics 101. But like really starting to understand it here in the auction. Okay. So anyway, again, like this advanced webinar here will provide you the foundation for understanding these other traders and what they're looking at, and to really get into the details in here so you can build out your trading plan. Okay, Luke, send me your Instagram. Put the link in here. You said it's got 9 million views. Oh my God. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, the NQ's been acting weird. I bet, Captain Price. Like, I mean, this has been a weird market last few days, but this has been a beautiful move here. I mean, we know it's a big stop run too. But we read it down here. Like, did that exchange take place? And we said no, not really. Or then it started to in here, but there was still more buying pressure. Okay, still looking for higher. and then we just had this big stop run and this big move up into these areas here. But now it's starting to take place. Okay, we also noted they're reloading in here too on some of these areas, like right in here. And we just see it's just supply and demand. Like what I mean by reloading is that there's more buyers on the bid, and they are buying here. Okay, so the exchange is taking place that we know that there's more buyers in here basically. And now it's starting to get tested. Yeah, now we're starting to see some sellers. Okay, but did they buy? Well, they kind of pulled that liquidity here last minute, right? So these guys didn't buy. So maybe we'll get more sellers in here now. All right, let me just, lots of questions. Keep them coming. I mean, this is great. A good discussion. Is there a should have? The market is always right. Yeah, I mean, I've gotten kind of some heat for that, Captain Thor, or I'm sorry, what is it, Fat Thor, for saying it should do this or should do that. The market doesn't need to do anything, right? There is no it should, but it's just understanding the supply and demand, and due to that kind of imbalance, we would look for it to be more probable. Okay, so you got your Instagram, Luke. Thank you. Well, send which video. I'm just kind of curious. It is if it's showing order flow. Waiting. How many more bears want to short it? Well, that's what this is really great. Captain Price is like, yeah, okay. Well, what do the bears think? Are they going to start pulling? They're up here right now at 22, but are they going to pull? They say like, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to exchange hands with you guys right now. I'm going to be up higher. That's where we see them pull the liquidity, and we want to understand that. That's weird. So some of the FANG stocks kept leading the NQ, but the NQ is hesitating. It's kind of odd. All right, looks like I'm caught up on questions. And let me check Discord here. You go, brother Chromatide, go and ask them or Gene and the Algo boys about the exchange. I mean, it's just beautiful stuff. Like it's another way of describing what's going on. Buyers meeting sellers, right? And or maybe a lack of buyers here and then selling pressure here. So market just kind of curls down and it finds, sellers to move it to find buyers at a lower level down in here, right? So like right in here, that's possible. Let's see, because here we just didn't get any. We don't get any. Now we're getting them. Okay, and then here's some supply here, but look what happened. As soon as that supply came in, we actually found buyers interested in it, right? Making the transaction. So that gives us a little bit of insight. There's more. There's more sellers there now. Now the exchange is starting to take place. Okay, they're pulling a little bit though, and it's not really heavy liquidity in here that's transacting. It's just some. Let's take a look. Let's just zoom out. Let's look at our here's our hourly candle, right? This is pretty bullish now, right? We broke out on heavy buy volume. Look for the move back up to here where they dropped it at 24. Okay, bigger picture stuff. Nice. This could be a nice on a higher time frame. Looks like a beautiful potential flag pattern. Now, flag pattern is it's an order flow event. Strong buying. Take a breather, a pullback, followed by strong buying. That's what we'd be looking for. Well, that's what makes up the pattern. Now, what we want to ascertain is up in here. Is there strong buying again? Are they able to trade up in here? Are they trading into and exchanging hands here with sellers? If they are, is there more buyers? Or is that exchange over now? And right now it's not too clear. Not too clear. There's buyers up here. They traded into these guys though. But they partially traded too. So this is really murky up here. But we know that though. We know that condition here. Okay, so yeah, here we got some sellers. Okay, but all it's done is traded to the bottom of this little range here. All right, let's get this market pulse up here again and try to get more insight here. I still have the bonds up here for the correlation with the bonds, the interest rate products, and I think we'll continue on with that. Or we can look at stock indexes, but we're going to look at that inverse correlation with the bonds. Okay, so this is the 2-year. Let's look at the 5, the 10, and the 30. Okay, and let's just look at those here. All right, so now we're looking at a negative correlation in here. We're looking at basically if they're buying bonds, it means they're selling stocks to get out of them to kind of flight more into an interest rate product, okay, and a little bit more safer risk off. Okay, and we look for this to kind of look for some heavy transactions in the bonds one way or the other. And we're not getting any. There we go. Look at the 30-year. They're selling here. Okay, so selling the bonds down here. That means at the bottom edge. Okay, so let's look at some order flow now. Here we'd be looking for a break of this trend line and buyers up here, because they're selling the bonds means maybe they'll transition into the stock indexes. Okay, they're selling the 10-year now. Okay, now we got high liquidity in here. See how we can kind of put this context together? High liquidity here at 18.5. Buyers, a little bit of buying here. Okay, buyers. Fat Thor, if buyers are coming in, these are selling off, then the buyers should be able to lift it from this kind of 19 area here on up to 20 or 21.5 or so. Okay, we see a little transition of buyers and sellers in here. Okay, and there's still more sellers. There's still more sellers here. Okay, but we have high liquidity here. Okay, now they're buying the bonds. So this correlation here is not really working too well for us. It's giving us kind of conflictions here. But we do know that they're staying in the order book here. They're transacting here. They did pull here though. Okay. All right, so now do we get our buyers up here? A little bit. Okay, you should be able to move it on up. 21. Okay, we're at 20. All right, so this is basically a little bit more kind of higher time frame with the correlations here, together with the order flow. Let's zoom out. Let's zoom out and read it. Look, this can still just be a pullback in here. And it still could be a flag pattern. Selling the 5-year, selling the 10-year. Okay. A little bit of exchange of hands in here. Gotta see buyers up here though. Okay. There they are. All right, let's see them move it up to 41.20. Okay, this would be the anticipated move due to buyers in here on the bid and some of the selling here of the bonds and of the notes. Boy, it is taking its sweet time here. This is where I ran into like an issue yesterday. We had such good results with this market pulse tool like 3 or 4 sessions beforehand, and then yesterday when the choppy market, it was like I leaned on it a little too hard, and it always is the case. It always whips me. Is, come back, be humble, and read the order flow. What is the chart telling us? What do we know? And be flexible with what the read is. And that's it. Once we start to understand, like, there's more likelihood due to what the players are telling us in here, and we objectively read it, the better the anticipated moves unfold. Yeah, exactly, Captain Price. Market's not sure what it wants to do. That's what the kind of read was, I thought, yesterday, and today as well. We've gotten a few nice moves today, much better today. But just make a distinction too of like when not to trade. It's like, well, that's not looking that great. I don't want to buy that or sell that if it's not looking that great. All right, here are buyers. Right now, has an exchange taken place? Yeah, it has. Like, there has been some buying on the bid in here. Okay, we got buyers up here. Okay, so now I'd be looking for more buyers back up here, this 19.25, and then I would be looking for them to try to reach these sellers at 20, 21, and 22. Okay, are they on the bid a little bit? Okay, let's see our buyers come in, and let's see them move it up into these areas here to find the sellers. See the selling starting to pull a little bit here. Okay, there's a little bit on the bid here, but we're finding sellers in here. This is just slop, really, back and forth in here. There's a little bit of buying, though, right in here. So they're still buying, basically. So again, I'm still looking for this move up here and then higher. All right, buyers, this is it. Now you got these sellers here on the hook, so I would be looking for a stop run from here on up to here as well. So a flurry of buying, okay, and a stop run. Okay, here's our stop run, and here's our little flurry of buying. It's not really what we're looking for. We're looking for more than that. Yeah, we're talking about some little micro areas in here, guys. It's not really micro, but it's lower time frame. But this holds true on these higher time frames as well. Okay, so yeah, here, this is our pullback, and then looking for the move back up into 22. Okay, makes sense. And there we go. There's 21.5. Still looking for higher, though. Looking for 22 minimum. Okay, let's zoom out. Let's look at our bigger picture. Yeah, this is the area we were looking at earlier up here, 22-ish, I think, where the sellers came in. Maybe you can go a little higher, maybe 24, 23.5 up here. Okay, we can look at a measured move as well. Let's do that. And why these measured moves work as well. All right, well, that would be up here around 27, 28. Kind of top of this range up here, right? Or this one little swing up here. Okay, finally you got the squeeze, Captain Price. Excellent. Good one. Yeah, Peter, pulse, the market pulse should work in replay mode. It does not right now. All right, guys. Well, let's wrap it up here, and we'll call it a day. Please hit the like button here if you like this video. This helps us a lot, and we'll cover more things that you guys want. Ask questions in here. We'll put together some polls, like come into our Discord, ask questions in there. Come to some of the other streams in here as well. And again, the way that we have our education set up here, the advanced webinar here provides the foundation for you guys to be able to trade anything that you want. That's our goal, so that you can now slip into Tom B's room and read the order flow and understand like why, like, you know, a pull away from this has to be on strong volume. Okay, and do we get a trending market now away from this whole value area that has been chopping around in all period? All right, and what it would look like, what is more probable, putting that together and understanding at the same time a candlestick pattern of an hourly chart, a pattern of a flag pattern here, what makes that up, and also your volume profile, all of these together. But it's all about what's happening here in this in the order flow here. It's what makes up all three of those. Whatever it is that you're trading, it does not matter. No, there's the Malak, the measured move has complete sense to it. It totally makes sense. Let me just go through an example. All right, here's a measured move and why. Okay, so here is a measured move. Why? Because people in here, you know, maybe they're getting stopped out up in here. Like, you know, maybe it's half of the range. So maybe it comes up to about here, okay, which would be this one. Or maybe it comes up into here, measured move. And there's structural areas in here as well. Okay, so, you know, it's because of people's position in here and people getting stopped out and the way that they're trading back up into here in these areas here. And you'll see why there's structure like this and why it makes sense. Doesn't always happen, but a lot of times it does. Okay, so just trying, I would love to debunk it all and say like, yeah, it's all BS. I really think fibs are BS. I don't understand them. Like, yeah, I used to trade them. I used to trade all the fib patterns, but it just seems so random to me. And like, I don't think a lot of traders are looking at it. Okay, but I know a lot of traders are looking at VWAP. That's for sure. And a lot of larger players are trading off of VWAP. And now that's one line. It's not a moving average. It's not like the 50 on a daily, or is it a 50 on a 5-minute, or is it a 50 on a 15-minute, or are they looking at the 18? Who knows, right? So we're looking for things that make sense, that most traders are also looking at. That's what's they're going to react to that, and that's what's going to help here. Here's a beautiful measured move unfolding right now. Just beautiful. And we have two measurements there. We had our flag measurement, and we also have that lines up rather nicely with the range measurement here as well. Okay, if you like it and this is something you look at, great. Just look for the order flow to support it. Okay, and it is. Okay, we're getting buyers here. Okay, and now is it going to break? Is it going to continue higher? Well, here we had some exchange starting to take place, right? Sellers here, exchange starting to take place. I'm still looking for it to go higher. I'm looking for 30 here. I think there's still more buyers in here than there are sellers in this exchange here. Okay, so maybe it's going to outdo the measured move. Maybe there's still more momentum in here. Okay, we'll just have to read the order flow in here to get that insight. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Every trader's dream used to be a volume event in the market. Yeah. Yeah, I love this market pull stuff too. Like I'm still looking at these bonds and still trying to gain more insight in here with these correlations. The best correlations I've seen so far has been the dollar index for sure, or the euro dollar, because I don't have a dollar index in here. That's with the ICE exchange. And then also the stock market indexes. Put up the Russell, YM, NASDAQ. Compared to the ES, are they all hitting on all cylinders? Then the move is so much more likely. All right, guys. Yeah. Thanks for hitting that like button. Thanks for coming. Tom B has already started, and then options with Doug, and then Algo Boys later. The Algo Boys is in the Discord chat only, so you will have to jump over to our Bookmap Discord to check that out. But it is free and open to all. Thanks for coming, guys. Have a great day, and we'll catch up tomorrow with Joseph, J Trader, and some stocks. Okay. Yep. Take care. Bye-bye.